So welcome to Let's Talk Business with Laura Nowlin and Dr. Olga Kovian. She wasn't able to be here with us today, but don't worry. I've got my mentor right next to me here, my co-host, Joe Hernandez. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Laura. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you didn't
it.
have to walk too far to get here, huh?
Just right across the parking lot right over here, so it was a safe walk.
Yeah, so Joe has been my insurance agent for years now. We met, back in 2000 and maybe 13? And I started my business in 2014, and he actually coached me through it, was my insurance agent, helped me put everything in place, and still with the same company now.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Glad you're continuing with us.
Right. So how many years, Joe, have you been in the insurance industry?
Well, believe it or not, last year was my 50th year in the insurance business. So I've been doing this for a little bit.
Yeah, like you're like a complete expert in the field, right? After 10 years, you're considered an expert. So what are you? What's 50 years? Expert.
An old expert.
Great. And so what's the name of the company that you're with still?
Right now, we're Branch Hernandez Consulting and Insurance Services.
Yeah, because I know that you made some changes from the first time that I actually got insured through your company.
Correct. We were Branch Hernandez and Associates at one time, so we changed.
And so I know what type of insurance you offer, but can you share with our audience of what type of insurance you do offer?
Sure. First of all, a couple of important, comments I want to make is a lot of people don't realize that here in Nevada we have over 300,000 small businesses, and the information that I'm giving to you, believe it or not, comes from the SBA. So that makes it accurate.
Yes, the federal government. Okay.
And the interesting part of that is, of those 300,000 businesses, 99.2 or 3% are all small businesses, which is it's a number that's kind of inconceivable when you think about that many businesses, that the majority are small businesses. On a national level, we have over 33 million small businesses, and they fall into the same category. So I guess the interesting point about this is, relatively speaking, small business is really the majority of the types of businesses that are here, both in Nevada and on a national basis.
We are the heartbeat of America. We're the ones that keep it going.
Absolutely. So with that being said, depending on the type of business that you have, there are various types of insurance. But I'll start with the basics. So most people, when they start a business, if they're working out of their house, if it's a home-based business, and they don't have an office, the main concern that they have is the liability exposure. Because you as a business owner are really putting out your investments, your assets, to start a business. And if there's a liability situation where you either are giving wrong information, or you go out to somebody's business and you cause damage to the property or injury to an individual, then you're going to be held legally responsible. So you want to make sure that you have the general liability insurance as the primary coverage to begin with. Well, in the state of Nevada, when you register with the Secretary of State your business, one of the questions that they ask you is, do you have any employees? And if you check that box yes, then the next thing that's going to happen is that they're going to be looking for some kind of proof that you have workers' compensation insurance. Because in the state of Nevada, if you employ people, and in most states, you are required to provide coverage for that individual at work for any injuries that they may sustain, as well as paying them about 60% of their income for any time lost from work. So that's an important coverage.
Right. So if you have an injury and you're covered with workman's comp, if that employee says, I'm going to sue you now, in all reality, because you have workers' comp, you're protected as an individual.
Correct. So there's two things that can happen. The employee can opt to collect the benefits, which is paying all of the medical bills and also paying the wages for lost time. Some employees, if they feel that the accident was caused because of negligence on the employer's part, then they can sue you. The policy does have a limit of $1 million. In most cases, sometimes you can get higher. And the difference there is, if there is a lawsuit that's brought against you, the individual is only going to be entitled to whatever settlement amount they get from the lawsuit on the employer's liability. The difference between that and a regular claim is that workers' compensation claims never close. So you could continue for a long time receiving some kind of benefit for an injury that you received at work.
So they never close. There's actually no time frame then?
In most cases, no. What some insurance companies will try to do is they'll try to use what's called a buyout, and they may offer you a certain percentage of money for a settlement. And some people will accept that, so you'll get a short-term disability up to a long-term disability payment. But in some cases, most people go back to work and they heal. So a lot of times those claims never come up again. But there are instances where somebody has ongoing chronic injuries or the injury doesn't go away. And so then that has to be dealt with in a relationship between the carrier and the insured.
Wow. What other insurances do you guys offer in your office?
Well, we have quite an array. So so let's say now you have an office like this location, and you've furnished the office, you've got computer equipment, you've got valuable papers, and you want to make sure two things. One, that if somebody breaks into your office and steals your valuables, whether it's your computers or your office equipment or anything, that you have coverage to protect you for that, similar to your homeowner's insurance policy. So the policy will provide a deductible, but based on the limit of insurance that you want, the policy can pay up to the loss. The other thing that it covers is if there's a fire. So if there's a fire and the building burns down, and again, all of your personal property is destroyed, then the policy will pay for that. Or water damage. So there's certain extended coverages on the policy that can protect your personal property while you're at work. So that's probably the other second important coverage. And then there's coverages for professional liability. So in the case, Laura, where you are doing placement of people for employment and you have contracts with people for services, if there's error or an omission in the type of outcome of your employee or the contract, and somebody brings a lawsuit against you, then that's what that particular type of policy will do.
Right.
It's also good for people that are in professions. For myself, an insurance agent, we need to have insurance. She would give bad information or not give the proper limits of insurance, and somebody sues us. So those are other types of policies that we sell.
And then I believe you guys also carry cybersecurity insurance
Correct.
as well.
Yes, cyber liability right now. So there's two types of cyber liability. There's a cyber liability that protects you from people that come and provide malicious malware, come in, breach your information, can actually put some type of a virus that can destroy your information, and even in some cases damage your computer equipment. So cyber liability will provide that. If you have clients and customers and a customer base, and you have personal information like social security numbers or credit card numbers, it's really important that you have a cyber liability policy, because the primary purpose of it is, one, to notify people of the breach, and two, to be able to monitor, at least for a year or longer, whether or not anybody is using their information or their identity. So that's important. The other type of cyber liability policy is the crime policy. There's a separate cyber liability crime policy, That one's important because there's people that impersonate you, can call your bank and say, hey, I need you to wire $10,000 to so-and-so business because we owe them the money. And if the bank is not careful, but in most cases now I think everybody's aware of that, and that money is wired falsely by some impersonator, then you're going to be out $10,000 and there's no way to recover it. So the crime of the cyber liability policy is designed to protect you up to a certain amount of money, and also to ensure that you're not going to be out of pocket because of somebody that's breaching your information or impersonating you.
What is the best advice that you can give a small business owner looking to find out which insurance company to go with? You know, what insurance coverages do they really need so they don't end up with all these extra insurance coverages? And what I'm going to do is actually hold that thought. We're going to go ahead to go to a short commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Great.
Introducing CS Now Staffing, led by yours truly, Laura Nowlin. As the founder and president, I bring over 17 years of expertise in sourcing for talent, building winning teams of professionals, marketing, and workforce development. At CS Now Staffing, we're not just a staffing agency. We're your strategic partner in building a winning team of professionals for your business. My passion for community service extends to connecting entrepreneurs with local resources. Recognized by the Small Business Administration as the 2022 Nevada Family-Owned Business of the Year, we're not just changing the workforce landscape, we're defining it. Let's talk business with Laura Nowlin and Dr. Covian. We just came back from commercial, and I'm here with my mentor, Joe Hernandez. So, Joe, I was asking you a question. What's the best advice that you could give a small business owner, not knowing what type of insurance coverages they need, who to go talk to?
Okay. Well, the first thing you need to understand that there's a difference between an independent insurance agent and insurance agents that represent one company. So I'll mention some of the companies. There's Farmers Insurance, there's Allstate Insurance, and there's State Farm Insurance. Those individuals usually just represent one company. The difference between us and those companies is that the independent insurance companies or independent insurance agencies have access to several companies.
Okay.
So what we would say is if you get a quote from the companies that I mentioned, you can always come to an independent insurance agent like us, Branch Hernandez Consulting. And what we will do is we will take an application, very similar to applying for a loan. We will get information about your business, how long you've been in business, the type of coverages that we think you need. We'll spend a lot of time sitting down with you, asking a lot of questions to try to determine what exact coverages are best for you. And then we will take that information, it'll be put on an application. We then can send it out to various companies. We don't have to go to one company. We could go to 3, 4, 5, 6 companies, depending on how many companies will write the type of insurance for your business that we know of. We send that out, we get the quotes, we come back, we look at them, we sit down and make sure that the coverages are there that you need, and then we'll sit down with you and show you the quotes. Some may be higher, some may be less, but what we try to do is determine which policy is going to give you the best coverage for the amount of money that you're going to be spending. So that's the way that we do it.
Great. And so I find that it's so much more affordable to just pay the insurance than getting sued later or actually getting closed down.
Correct.
Because you have to have insurance in order for you to be able to operate. Anything else, Joe, that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, again, I think it's very important that you get a second opinion on your insurance. Even people that we insure, we say, look, make sure that you're not complacent with your broker or with your agent, because sometimes some agents will write you the insurance policy and then you'll never see them again. And so every year you get a renewal bill, but you never have an opportunity to discuss to see if there's any changes.
Right.
Your business could have grown, you could have gotten more equipment. So you just want to make sure that you're doing annual reviews and covering the most important exposures that you have so that you don't have to worry about a lawsuit or loss of personal property.
With you being 50 years in the business, right? Do we give them your personal cell phone right now so they can call you for insurance? What phone number should we give them so then they can reach out to you or someone in your company should they want
Sure.
to talk to you?
Well, the best phone number would be the office, 702-648-6887. And I'll repeat that again. It's 702-648-6887. And when you call there, they'll either put you directly through to my voicemail or myself if I'm available, or somebody else will be there to assist you. So please call us anytime, 24/7, and we'll make sure that we get back to you as soon as we can.
I definitely recommend that you go ahead and give Joe a call. Get a second opinion. I'm telling you that he's been my mentor for many years now, and insurance, he definitely knows. 50 years worth? That's a lot of years, Joe. But no, I do thank you so much for being on the show with us. We really appreciate it. And I know that this is going to be very useful information to the small business community. So you can catch us on WWDBTV.com, Roku, CS Now Staffing, social media platforms, and Balance Salud y Vida social media platforms. You can also call CS Now Staffing for any questions that you may have about the show, or if you would like to be a guest on the show. Our phone number is 702-902-2448. Once again, Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Laura, thank you. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be here and how successful you've become over the many years that I've known you.
It's because of mentors like Joe. I'm telling you, call them, make an appointment with Joe, have coffee with him, get to know him. Thank you, and we'll see you the next time.